ED1224 sa Southern Mindanao. Ito ang Radyo Agila. Mabilis, malakas, pumapagaspas. Mga bagong kaalaman sa siyensya at teknolohiya. Alamin sa programang Pinoy Scientist. Tuwing linggo, alas 5 ng hapon hanggang alas 6 ng gabi. Pinoy Scientist. KBP Best Science and Technology Radio Program. Pinoy Scientist. Dito sa Radyo Agila.
Magandang hapon. Happy Sunday and first Sunday of 2024, January 7, 5:02 p.m. So kayo nakikinig sa DZEC 1062 Mega Manila at Pinoy Scientist. Ako si Dr. GUIDO David, joined with none other than
Doc, ako ba yun, Doc Guido?
Yes, Doc.
Ako si Doc JD. Magandang hapon sa ating lahat. Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. At magandang, ano bang tawag? Mapagpalang bagong taon. Kasi this is our first episode of Octa Hour. Doc Guido, ikaw ang Octa Hour sabi natin, Bida Solution. So, Doc JD, yes, may mga gusto ka bang batiin sa ating programa bago natin or unahin ko na ba yung... Ikaw muna ang magbate tapos akong bababate.
Okay.
Sige po.
So, yes, of course, in a while, introduce natin ang ating guest, none other. Ang topic natin for today is artificial intelligence. Okay.
Very modern.
Very modern. Marami nagtatanong tungkol dyan. And of course, we have a very esteemed guest to join us. Pero before that, of course, sa mga few small announcements, sa mga sumusubaybay ng Twitter ko, of course, batiin ko yung mga ibang Twitter friends ko. So, sina Blank Epoch, Raya 2.0, I Am Negatron, Chewy, Gigi, Lay, Sampi, Ranel, Manuel Tesson, Joyce, si Bral Gonzalez, Rain, EJ, Bing, Salvador, Jet, Bella, Melissa, Bray, I'm sure may mga nakalimutan pa ako dito, Team Omnipoint. Of course, si Dr. Custer, si Mariah, na-meet ko sila just yesterday, si Engineer Ria, and meron silang linuluto, and linulutong masarap.
Sana makasali tayo doon, Dr.
Yes, kaya pulang-pula tayo ngayon eh. And then, of course, bagong taon nga, of course, kung sumusubaybay ka sa Twitter ko, alam niyo na of course, may nagmamonitor pa rin na COVID. May nagsasabi sa akin, ba't niyo pa minamonitor yan? Well, kasi may mga gusto magpa-monitor, so ako na madali lang ako kausap. May mga nagre-request. At although, to be fair, bumababa na yung positivity rate in the trend sa Metro Manila. Pero tumataas siya sa probinsya, so as we expected.
Anong province? Can you point it out? Hindi.
Yeah, medyo significant yung increase. Nakita natin sa Bataan, sa Camarines Sur, na almost 60% yung positivity rate. Sa Cavite, sa Isabela, and sa Oriental Mindoro, sa Pampanga, tumalon yung positivity rate. And then, Tarlac, among others. And then, sa Agusan del Norte, sa Aklan, 67% positivity rate. Cebu, tumaas din 28% positivity rate. Misamis Oriental, tumaas din. So,
Ito, matanong ko tungkol lang sa COVID. Ito ba mga to, hindi naman to na hospital, di ba? Ano ba ang kanilang mga cases? I mean, can be at home? I mean, can be managed at home? Or hindi naman nila binaburden ang ating mga hospitals, right? Parang gano'n naman.
Of course, yes. I have the information sa, yun nga, dahil kinukuha natin yung datos sa Department of Health. Yung information na kukuha natin, mababa naman yung hospitalization. Tumaas siya ng bahagya. Pero at the same time, we're averaging over the past 2 weeks, parang nag-average na yung mga we've seen mga 10 deaths in one day, 12 deaths. Um, so may ganyan tayong nakikita. And also kahit na mababa yung hospitalization, yun nga, tumaas siya ng konti. At I mean, anecdotally, may alam ako na um, hospitalized yung mother niya
Mm.
because of another ailment. Pero nung nasa hospital, nakakuha ng pneumonia because of maybe maraming kumakalat na sakit. Hindi lang naman COVID, meron din yung pneumonia, meron din influenza-like illness, etc. So, um, ayan yung ayan yung sitwasyon. Kaya nga, pag ganitong panahon, suggestion ko lang, yun nga, hindi naman tayo nananakot, but just be sensible regarding our protocols kung gusto natin mag-face mask in public areas, lalo na kung may kasama tayong seniors or may comorbidities. So yan lang naman. I think na-attribute natin sa isang subvariant yan, JN.1. Ayan. By the way, yeah. Mamaya ako nabanggitin. Pero ikaw, Doc JD, so kumusta naman? Alam ko may
May
kayo.
pasyente.
Yeah,
Yung mom
may
ko kasi ay nasa PGH at nagpapasalamat ako siyempre sa lahat ng mga sumusuporta po, mga healthcare professionals po natin doon. Marami pong salamat sa inyong tulong. Andun pa rin, Doc Kido, and we are praying for her wellness. So,
we share your prayers and
yes,
yeah,
prayers talaga.
we give you our full support sa iyong mother.
Salamat Tokido. And then gusto ko lang batiin po ang mga patuloy pa rin pong na tumatangkilik ng ating pong salitang Tagalog, balikan para di malimot, pagmamahal pa rin po ito sa ating sariling wika. At ito po ang mga nanalo sa ating pong lingguhang palaro. Mari Ferray, Demet Quasay, Arlene Castillo, Romeo Lopez, Derby Gonzalez, Angelito Galang, and Albert Dixon. May birthday ngayon si Ma'am Cora Britos, isa siyang retired librarian sa UP Manila. Ma'am Cora, happy birthday today. Gusto kong batiyan yung friend ko sa Indiana, US of A, si Engineer Lynn Guerrero Ainsa. At yung pamangkin ko, kapatid ni Gideon Lasco, mag-birthday sa January 9. Si Jonathan Lasco na nasa US din. And then si Roger Paul Mamuad, pamangkin ko, birthday naman sa January 13. So yan po ang mga bati ko at sa lahat po ng nagbe-birthday ngayon, araw na to at sa mga susunod pa, maligayang kaarawan po sa inyong lahat. Okay, Doc Kido?
Yes, may habol ako na birthday greeting
Sige, sige.
si Alicia. So happy birthday. Actually may iba pa akong babatiin pero baka mamaya na lang nawala yung nawala yung listahan ko.
Alright. So, sige po. At ito po ang atin pong inihandang tula. Ito po ang unang tula sa programa sa atin pong Octa Hour episode ngayong 2024. At dahil ang paksa po natin ay may kinalaman tungkol sa artificial intelligence o AI, ang title na lang po ay Regulasyon para sa Artificial Intelligence. Pwede na yan, Doc Nida?
Pwede yan, Doc JD.
Okay. So ito po ang tula. Ito po yung alin natin kay Doc Ligot na nandito na po sa ating ano man tawag dito? Google Meet. Ayan. So Doc Ligot, ito po ay alay ko para sa inyo. Ito po ang tula. Para sa unang episode ng programa, Artificial Intelligence ang pinakabida. Isang produkto ng siyensya at teknolohiya, moderno ito at maraming gamit talaga. Kaya naimbitahan ay si Dr. Dominic Ligot, data analyst, researcher, software developer, entrepreneur, technologist, nagsusulong ng data literacy, artificial intelligence ethics, data ethics, pati ang social impact ay kasali. Banggitin naman ang sa kasalukuyan ay pinagkakaabalahan. Tumututok siya sa karapatang pantao, seguridad sa pagkain, banta ng politika at pampublikong kalusugan. Disinformation at infodemics ay nilalabanan gamit ang social listening, remote sensing, maging computational science. Itinatag niya ang Serolytics na isang kumpanya ng AI, pati ang Data Ethics Philippines na makikita siyempre sa online. Isyong panlipunan tulad ng data privacy, data security, AI-driven discrimination, data liabilities, data ownership rights, and data poverty ay pinag-aaralan. tatlong beses na panalo sa global na kompetisyon. NASA and ESA International Space Apps Challenges po yun. Dahil sa ginawang ADIS o Dengue Surveillance Application na sinuportahan ng Group on Earth Observations, Digital Public Goods Alliance at ng UNICEF Innovation. Kasamang may akda ng Masters in Applied Business Analytics degree of the University of Asia and the Pacific. Pinamunuan ang pagbuo ng pang-nationwide Data Science Education Program Project o ISPARTA na ating ibanggit. Co-founded the Analytics Association of the Philippines ay ihirit, miyembro ng Board of Trustees ng Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism ay isama din sa list. Sa huli ay masasabing nasa dugo ni ang lubos ang sadyang paggamit ng malalaking datos, kasama na ang artificial intelligence na dapat may ayos upang magbigay ng positibong benepisyo sa mundo. Sa mundo nating ang pag-ikot ay hindi natatapos. Salamat po at yan po ang aking tula at yan po ay galing sa kanyang binigay na note. So maraming pong salamat. Magpapaalam na po ako at back to you, Doc Guido. Salamat po. Happiness.
Papaalam ka na, Doc JD. So, okay. All right. Sige, maraming salamat sa sa iyong appearance at I'll bring in si Doc Ligot, our esteemed guest. Thank you so much for your poetry, Doc JD. Kung may mga corrections, tatanong natin kay Doc Ligot.
Yes. Okay.
Ika-calibrate natin yung poetry natin.
Sana nagustuhan niya, no? Ginong ko lang, inano ko lang siya, ni-rhyme ko lang siya po. Yan lang po ang ating pong tula dito sa Pinoy Scientist. Simple lang po.
Salamat, Doc JD. Okay, so andyan na yung ating guest. And ito actually trading favors kami. I-guest din niya ako sa podcast niya soon. Pero this is a very relevant topic, Doc Ligot. Pero just to start off, kasi ang topic natin is about yung AI na nagiging, more people are becoming aware of AI. So I checked yung Google Trends, yung searches for artificial intelligence sa Philippines. Tumaas siya nung simula ng 2022. And I suspect, a lot of people suspect na tumaas yung awareness ng AI because of ChatGPT. So, pero bago tayo mapunta doon, Doc Ligot, can you give us some background about yourself? Ang alam ko lang, of course, we met in person. I heard from a friend of mine, classmate ko ng high school, si Mike Ligot, na pinsan daw niya ikaw. So, interested din ako kung hindi ko na siya na pina-elaborate. Pero, can you give us your background? How did you get to be where you are, like, from schooling, ganyan-ganyan. Konting history lang para mapakilala. What you're willing to share para mapakilala natin ikaw sa ating mga viewers and listeners.
Sige, magandang hapon sa lahat. Salamat din kay Doc JD for the very eloquent poem. Kung ako yan, gagawin ko na lang yan sa ChatGPT.
Ako din.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for having me today. As a matter of background, siguro not many people know that I started in finance. No? Actually, my background is really business administration. And I also took up accounting. Although hindi na po ako nag-CPA. From there, I worked in financial services. Sa bangko lang ako for almost 14 years. And then after that, I moved into IT. I worked for a software company, an American software company. One of the last jobs I did was based in San Francisco. Doon ako na-expose sa data science, big data. And then after that, umuwi ako. After that, I made a decision. This was already circa 2017, 2016.
Okay, very recent lang. So,
very recent. Then after that, I became an entrepreneur. So parang anong history niyan is, nakita mo kasi if you're in San Francisco, if you're in Silicon Valley, ang bilis ng ang progression ng AI, ng data. Actually, ang hot nun was data science. And analytics. Hindi pa masyadong matunog ang AI, although ginagamit na yun. And naisip ko, paano naman kaya yung Pilipinas, no? Every time I would go home, parang hindi nagbabago ang Pilipinas. Parang lumalala lang. Anyway, profession ko. So sabi ko, uwi kaya ako, let's see what we can do. So I went home, I quit my job, actually dalawang company ang sinimulan ko. One was a fintech. We were into peer-to-peer lending. And then I did that maybe for a little more than a year lang. After that, I sold out of that company, took what I got, invested it in my current startup, which is Zerolytics. I've been running Zerolytics for ano na ba ngayon? Almost 7 years, no? And uh, during that time, marami rin kaming naging pivot. First was, ang tinarget namin, mga small and medium enterprises. Bigyan natin sila ng analytics. And then later on, napunta rin kami sa training. Actually, training is a big part of what we do. So in 2018, we were doing what we call business analytics master classes. Hindi pa uso yung mga degrees na ngayon na uso na yung data science, analytics. So 2018 yon. And then in 2019, yun yung medyo naging malaking pivot. We went into several things. No? One was education. So naging author ako ng Project Sparta. That was a project that was backed by DOST and DAP. Ang mission nun was to train 30,000 data professionals. No? Dati, data scientist, pero sa pag-usap namin sa DOST, actually, hindi lang data scientist ang kailangan natin. We need data engineers, we need data analysts, so yun yung naging mission. That was also the year that we launched sa University of Asia Pacific one of the first master's degrees in analytics. So I was a co-author there. So puro education initiatives. And then, nabanggit kanina yung Data Ethics PH. Yun din yung taon na linaunch namin. Because nung time na yun na nga, everyone was getting excited with big data, with data science. Pero parang wala yatang tumitingin sa dark side, no? Paano ba itong magagamit to harm people? And sometimes, mga little things like security, privacy, data quality. So, yan yung naging mantra ng data ethics. Tapos, interesting turn of events towards the end of the year, we joined several hackathons. No? One was called Break the Fake, and the other one was yung nabanggit kanina ni Doc JB, yung NASA Space Apps Challenge. Doon kami namulat sa mundo ng public health, sustainable development, kasi yun yung mission ng NASA. Will give you satellite data and use it for sustainable development. So nisip namin, sige, tackle natin yung dengue, which was the big epidemic at that time, kung naalala ng mga tao. And hindi namin in-expect na mananalo kami, but we won. We were the second Filipino team to ever win. 2018, there was one Filipino team, and then we won it in 2019. And we also won it consecutively. Yung team ko rin competed in 2020, nanalo for COVID. 2021, nanalo ulit for air quality. Pero yun naman ang kinasabayan ng lockdown. As I'm sure you were at the heart of it, no, Doc Guido. Isa kayo sa mga in the data front, no. Marami rin tayo doon eh. We were looking at the statistics, yung walang kamatayang RT, R not.
Yes.
That was a big deal, no, at that time. So we were doing that. And that's what we were doing for the past 3 years, no? Looking at health, food security, nasama rin kami sa human rights related to COVID. So yun ang mga naging application. So medyo hindi na kami high profile at that time. Working in the background, we were working with the likes of UNDP, WHO, UNICEF. And then noong 2022, as knock on wood, patapos na yung pandemic ng time na yun, saka naman bulusok nung generative AI. I was one of the first to publicly use the ChatGPT. So I signed up for the early release noong October, November. And then for the past year, nakaka 1 year lang ng ChatGPT noong November, I've been quite active in social media. And yung work ko rin sa AAP, which started with analytics, ngayon AI na. And most recently, I'm also working closely with the IT BPM sector through IDPAP. Kasi, of course, nagbabanta yung AI. Baka ma-displace yung mga kababayan natin sa call centers and all these other jobs. So, isa ako sa mga tumitingin mo. And also looking at helping craft some regulations. So, mamaya, pwede natin pag-usapan. I'm consulting with a number of people in Congress, DICT, kasi gusto nga ng mga tao tingnan, no, ano ba yung impact nitong AI na to sa atin. And then, pinaka-recent thing na ginagawa ko, I don't know kung napansin ng mga, this is probably going to be more obvious to people outside NCR kasi active ako sa provinces. I've been offering mga master classes in generative AI. Mga ano lang, to familiarize people, get people familiarized with it, learn prompt engineering kasi yan yung malaking skill ngayon. Paano mo pinaprompt itong mga chatbot na to? Para kunyari gusto natin gumawa ng tula, how would you prompt it? And then now as we enter 2024, ang tinitingnan talaga natin is AI safety. Paano ba natin ma-mitigate yung mga possible risks ng AI while we're also trying to encourage innovation. So yeah, medyo busy ako with AI generally.
That's very good, and congratulations sa mga napanalunan ng awards. You make us proud, and we're also proud na umuwi kayo to help the Philippines. Ako, I'm one of those na ano, I mean, maybe I'm not as strong support or advocate as you, ikaw prominent ka sa ano. But I also strongly believe na this is something na ano, I mean, we can actually do as Filipinos. Diba kasi in terms of sa technology, malayo tayo. We can't build cars or have the infrastructure. Pero pagdating sa services, sa know-how, I mean, sa IT, maraming, you would agree with me, maraming Filipinos are actually capable and good in IT, di ba? And we export a lot of that. But we don't have to export jobs, di ba? They can be here if they have the right leadership. And yun nga, congratulations sa mga inyong undertakings. And may, you know, doon sa mga ginawa nyo, may mga, of course, una ko muna tatanong, itong masterclass nyo, mga gano'n kabilis ito or gano'n ka, no? Mga like ilang sessions ito, ilang weeks para lang sa mga may interested. Kasi
yeah, this was designed for the common one, no? Hindi namin...
Ano yung background nila? Like, what common one? Like, high school graduate? Pwede?
Basta,
It's a familiarization.
Basta may internet connection. So I actually offer two types of sessions. Yung isa, 1-hour session lang. Parang ito yung mga tools, ito yung definitions. May tatlong versions na ako niyan eh. One is on generative AI in general. And then yung isa is more on AI media. Yung mga image generation tools. Yung mga masarap gamitin. No? Yung mga deep fakes. Pag-usapan din natin mamaya if you want to swap faces with Hollywood people. And then, gumawa na rin ako for AI safety para lang maintindihan ng mga tao na ano ba yung mga possible risks and misuses. So, yun yung mga 1 hour. Pero yung master class, as I call it, is really more of a fundamentals to prompt engineering. Yun, 3 oras ang ano lang din. Easy lang, nothing heavy. I usually hold those on a Friday or Saturday afternoon. You just find the reference on my website na lang yung docligot.com. I have
docligot.com.
Yes. Yeah. And then, isa pang bala ko rin gawin, which is coming up with yung hands-on workshops on how to build chatbots. Siguro mas advanced na yun later on. Pero ang goal talaga namin, meron kaming mantra sa Zerolytics ngayon, which we've come up with a new tagline. Ang mantra namin is 1 million AI practitioners. Kasi I feel na ilan ba ang Pilipinas? Ang Pilipino, mga 100 plus million. Kung may 1 million tayo na gumagamit ng AI, that's 1%. Baka sakali, that might make an impact on our national productivity, our GDP. Actually, inspired ito sa ginawa ng Finland. I don't know kung alam ng mga tao. During the pandemic, nag-launch ang government of Finland ng program to train 1 million Finns in AI. Ganyan din, online training. And natapos nila yan within 1 year. So ngayon, ang mission nila is to train 1 million citizens of the EU in AI. Ganun din yung inspiration. Give them the basics. Iba ito dun sa mga high-end training na ginagawa in school, machine learning and all that. That's good. We also need more AI engineers and data scientists. Pero itong ginagawa kong masterclass is for citizens, no, to be able to use AI for productivity, for creativity.
So it's like empowering the common Filipino to be armed with this tool. And actually, to be transparent, kakagaling ko lang ako in-interview ako ng isang sa Radyo Pilipinas just before this program kasi may pinag-usapan about survey pero nasingit nila rin about AI. And so nabanggit ko rin nga na I'm interviewing Doc Ligot nga. docligot.com yung website nyo. And babatiin ko rin pala kayo, nagpapag-greet yung isa kong loyal listener sa program, si Joyce. Sabi niya nag-take daw siya ng inyong class. So,
Si Ma'am Joyce, taga Iloilo ba yan? Si
yes,
Ma'am Joyce.
yes.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. So actually, she also follows me on Twitter. So siya nga, taga Iloilo. I hope may kuryente sa kanila because
Oo nga eh. Which is actually a data problem if you ask
that's a
me.
data problem. That's a bottleneck. Kung wala kuryente, wala tayong AI for sure. We depend on energy.
For sure.
AI is they say it's the fifth revolution. Diba? Merong, industrialization, may computer revolution, AI, and it's very recent. And you agree, di ba, sa 2022, parang tumalon yung awareness. I mean, because that's in Google Trends, pero ChatGPT was really responsible for bringing AI to the masses. Whether we like it or not, andun na yung AI. Hindi lang aware minsan yung mga tao na may AI involved when we use Waze, when we use certain applications. May AI doon, image recognition. Wala pa naman dito yatang self-driving cars, which is of course, AI. Pero a lot of the, technology that we use, even may small components sila na gumagamit ng AI. Could be small, could be almost easy to overlook, pero andon. Pero yung ChatGPT was obviously parang napaka-AI ng dating niya. So tell me, nung unang lumabas yung ChatGPT, sabi niya you were one of the, how was your reaction?
Well, obviously, my first reaction was napakagaling.
Were you shocked?
Napakagaling gamitin. Kasi as someone who's been using kind of the older AI, syempre you need to be a bit of a programmer to do it. You have to be a bit of a mathematician din, katulad ninyo. Kasi it's very mathematical. Pero napansin ko sa ChatGPT, although there's a lot of math underlying it, para siyang na siya consumer grade product na siya. Para siyang microwave, you don't have to understand electrical engineering to use a microwave. You just put the food in, press a button, assuming may kuryente. Parang ganun na yung dating. So, that's one difference. Second is, yung term na generative AI, siguro for the benefit of our listeners.
Can you define that? Can you explain that? Generative AI, which most listeners baka hindi pa nila narinig yung word.
Yeah, I'm sure it's Greek to them, no? Pero up until November 2022, pag tinanong ka about AI, ang most likely people will be referring to what we call discriminative AI. It's an AI that interprets data. It's everything from mga image classifiers, pati sa statistics, mga regression.
Yes.
So ang goal nun, you have data, you want to understand the pattern, and then meron kang some
parang pattern recognition lang basically.
Correct. May prediction ka. Pero si generative, kakaiba. Parang it also interprets data, pero the goal is to generate more data. So you give it pictures of cats, gagawa siya ng additional cats. Or you prompt it with a word, let's say word dog, gagawa siya ng pictures of dogs. Or in the case of these large language models, katulad ng sabi, you can have a conversation with it. No? And actually, yung technology na yan, actually hindi naman bago yan, matagal na yung may ganyan eh. Actually, the first example ng ganyan is yung mga sinasabing autocomplete. You're searching something sa Google, pansin mo, tinatapos ni Google yung sentence mo. So that's an early form.
Email, right.
Early form of generative AI yan. Pero itong ChatGPT, I think what made it really revolutionary it was trained to have conversations. So hindi lang niya pinipredict yung next word dun sa sentence mo. Sinasagot niya yung tanong mo. And I think that's groundbreaking kasi kahit yung mga autocomplete nun, medyo mahirap din siyang gamitin eh. Parang you have to have some sort of an idea first and tatapusin ng AI. Ito, yung interaction is more natural. At saka human-like. No? It was trained on human responses. Pero napansin ko rin, ito, the reason why I was doing these courses, itong mga masterclass, even if lumabas na tong mga chatbot na to, napansin ko, and I'm sure karamihan ng mga tao, if you're using these tools, ang trato nila dito parang Google lang, no? Isang tanong, isang sagot, or you ask it a piece of trivia. Actually, that's not the best way to use these tools. Although it will work, ang best way talaga is bibigyan mo siya ng data rin. Kunyari, bigyan mo siya ng essay, or bigyan mo siya ng article. Sabihin mo, please summarize this article. Or bigyan mo siya ng mga bullets. Here's my constraints for my problem. I'm brainstorming a solution. Give me 10 ideas. At yun yung medyo na doon nagugulat yung mga tao. Like kunyari, si Ma'am Joyce when she attended the class. Na these tools pala can be more than just a search engine type of solution. Pwede siyang virtual assistant, pwede siyang brainstorming, pwede siyang planning. Kasi nga technically, nabasa na ng mga chatbot na yan. Halos lahat ng libro in existence, halos lahat ng websites. Marami silang alam. But I think the big difference is, kailangan marunong tayo mag-prompt. You have to know how to ask the question para mailabas niya yung tamang data. So, dyan ngayon naglalaro yung mga taong gumagamit ng AI at hindi. There's still another level above. Ginagamit ko yung AI and I also use it properly so that it gives me proper information. Yan yung ngayon, yung challenge sa atin pa. How quickly can we get everyone to use these tools properly?
Pero what's your opinion on yung isang tinanong sa akin a while ago. Of course, yung nag-interview sa akin was more I mean not someone who's an AI user, but more like sa a media personality. Tinanong niya, okay lang ba naggamitin yung ChatGPT or yung AI para magsulat ng term paper ng school required essay na isasubmit sa school. And I'm an academic. I teach sa university. So I have an answer for that. But ikaw, I mean, binato ko sa yung same question. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I have one foot in the academia then since I also advise
with UA,
with AAP, no? At saka UANP. I think we are in the era, syempre this is before all of us were born. Nung panahon ni Rizal, I love that the 19th century. Marami rin mga technologies na nagsisilabasan nun that society was not ready to accept. One was the camera, photography. And if you dig a bit of history, nung time na yon, photography was being used as a replacement to portraiture art, paintings. And the art world did not accept it. Sa kanila, hindi art yung photography na yan. Kasi hindi naman tao yung gumagawa ng image. Yung machine. Parang letting light in the machine through the film. And that was ang tagal. Siguro more than 100 years bago nila tinanggap. And what eventually happened was, na-realize ng mga portraiture artists themselves, they were the biggest critics, na mas madali palang mag-portraiture kung meron akong photograph ng tao as opposed to the old style na magpo-posing yung model mo for hours.
Nakangawit. Di ba?
So part of your skill is to remember what the angles of the person was kahit na napagod na yung model. And then now, you can capture that moment in time lalo na nung lumalabas na yung colored photography. So eventually, nagkaroon din ng acceptance. And then I'm sure, fast forward centuries later, nung panahon na ng early days of personal computing. I'm sure naalala ng mga tao. Yung unang lumabas yung Photoshop. Ito yung transition period from the analog, SLR to the digital SLR. Hindi masyadong pabor yung mga photographers sa mga gumagamit ng Photoshop. Kasi sa kanila,
yung mga purists.
Oh, like, I know yung mga, yung exposure, yung shutter opening, yan, mga ganyan. Or I have a developing lab sa bahay ko. So, kabisado ko yung tried and tested way of bringing out dramatic photographs. Tapos, kabisado ko yung mga types of film. Alala ko dati, the more expensive the film, the more light could capture kahit madilim. And then suddenly, sa Photoshop, lahat ng mga techniques na yun, madaling gawin, isang click lang. So, ang tagal din. Siguro mga, I would say, less than 10 years. And then, ang talagang naging movement dyan, nung nalaos bigla yung analog na camera became digital, Photoshop became natural. No? So, why am I bringing this up? I think marami tayong mga ganyang love-hate relationships. Every time we have technology that seems to replace yung ginagawa natin. I'm sure in math, In the 80s, yung mga calculators,
Yeah.
may love-hate relationship tayo dyan na kailangan i-ban yan dahil nasisira ang mathematics. Actually, ang nangyari, in-adopt din ng mathematicians yung calculator.
Right.
In my profession, in accounting, nung lumabas yung Microsoft Excel, no, which is one of the most popular tools sa finance, nung time na yun, sabi na, ay, wala ng accountant. Lahat Excel na. Uso kasi noon yung adding machine tsaka yung columnar pad. Yung doon kami sanay. And what happened was the accountants adopted Excel. So ngayon, Excel is just another tool. So meron tayong ganyang, I think, stage that we're going through right now. I feel na we don't have the right rules in place. Kailangan may rules tayo for sure. Kasi essays nga naman, no? Can easily be crafted using AI. But I think more importantly, kung ako lang ang tatanungin, we now need to reevaluate paano ba natin tinuturuan yung mga bata ngayon. Do essays really still work? Does memorization still work when you can instantly get that from a chatbot? And alam naman natin yung sorry state of our education system, our rankings are not looking good. Clearly, merong kailangan magbago. Pero ngayon na may AI, ang unang instinct natin is ipagbawal. So I feel na baka there's a third option. Maybe there's a way we can adopt it to accelerate learning. Tsaka nakita ko rin yung isang opportunity dyan sa AI is really productivity. In fact, very recently lang to nung December, may lumabas na study from the University of Minnesota, share ko lang, in their law school. And what they did was they observed the use of ChatGPT sa mga law students. And what they found was yung mga students na medyo laggard sa batch, nakakahabol on the basis of speed. Kasi what normally takes them 3-4 days to do research and craft mga mga documents, napapabilis. Pero yung quality hindi masyadong evident yung impact. Kumbaga speed-wise napabilis yung output, pero quality not so much. So I feel that that's a good insight kasi okay, mapapabilis yung pag-turn in mo ng mga assignment mo, pero may natutunan ka ba talaga? So I think that's one clue. Pero on the, let's say, the call center side, this was much earlier, parang April. May lumabas din na MIT tsaka Stanford study. May isang Philippine call center, they implemented ChatGPT. And may ganong phenomena din, yung mga below average agents was able to catch up to the top performers. Yung mga top performers parang sakto lang. Boston Consulting, may ganun din nangyari. They gave some of their consultants access to GPT-4. It was the below average consultants ang humahabol. So I feel it's an interesting parang, well, of course, anecdotal pa lang yan. Pero parang may ganyang impact na instead of nahuhuli yung mga tao, dumadami yung mga hindi na nakaka-keep up, baliktad. Nakakabawi sila kasi ngayon nakakahabol sila sa mga output nila. And more importantly, this is something na worth looking into siguro. Yung mga mababasa mong articles about yung mga chatbot na, bobo-bobo ng chatbot na to, it can't even add. Pansin ko, usually it's a math problem na ginagawang example. Kasi nga, language model ito, hindi naman sila math
Right.
models.
Right.
So I feel na that's another clue na probably this is not the tool you want to use solving math problems. Kasi meron ka namang mga ibang tools for that.
Right.
Pero language problems, perhaps, nandyan yung clue kung saan sila pwede gamitin.
And that's a big reminder sa mga viewers and listeners natin. Yung na artificial intelligence, it can be very smart, pero for specific purpose it was designed for. It's not like human smart na you can handle already a wide range of tasks, motor functions, speech, and mathematics, and maybe creativity. Pero so yung ChatGPT, not necessarily because it's a large language model. Pero very interesting yung sinabi mong insight about, and siguro that's how it has been in history. When there's a new there's a paradigm shift, hindi quick to adapt yung most people, especially yung mga purists who have been trained do sa old methods. But eventually, the younger generation will favor the maybe faster, more efficient approach. And eventually, mafe-phase out din yung older, yung mga more purists. Like yung mga purists sa photography, na sinasabi mo nung panahon ni Dr. Jose Rizal. So that's a very interesting insight. We're going to continue, pero we're just going to have a quick station break. So wag kayong aalis. So babalik after these few reminders ang Pinoy Scientist.
EBC, Eagle Broadcasting Corporation. Ito ang Radyo Agila.
Ang oras na ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Cable Link, your link to a world-class entertainment.
Responde sa radyo. Responde sa radyo. Alas 4 hanggang alas 5:30 ng hapon. Mapapakinggan sa Radyo Agila, DZEC 1062 sa AM band. At mapapanood via Facebook, YouTube live stream at sa Net25 online platforms. Responde sa radyo. Responde sa radyo.
Mga bagong kaalaman sa siyensya at teknolohiya. Alamin sa programang Pinoy Scientist. Tuwing linggo, alas 5 ng hapon hanggang alas 6 ng gabi. Pinoy Scientist. KBP Best Science and Technology Radio Program. Pinoy Scientist. Dito sa Radyo Agila.
Happy Sunday, January 7, 5:42 p.m. This is Pinoy Scientist on Radyo Agila at DZEC 1062 Mega Manila. May Facebook streaming live din sa website on Radyo Agila sa Facebook site. So, nagbabalik tayo with our esteemed guest, AI data scientist spokesperson Doc Ligot. At kanina pinag-usapan natin about artificial intelligence, some historical context, and of course yung ChatGPT. And of course itong call ko will end in 15 minutes. But we have to get to some really important details. Baka it may take some time to discuss this. And in fact, na-mention din ng ating listener na si Joyce from Iloilo. Nabanggit niya nga. Of course, na-mention din yung ethics, and I think this is where yung regulations come in. Over the past months, I've been hearing yung mga discussions and even sa Senate. The artificial intelligence should be regulated. Ganun. I'm not sure kung syempre may intent yung regulation. I mean, it's good. Regulation's good. Pero what is the main intent? I'm not sure if people are aware of what they want to be regulated. Kasi I think there's people and hindi naman unfounded siguro to, pero may mga tao na may fears sila about artificial intelligence, and sometimes maybe we can blame Hollywood movies for that na nagpa-plant na fears, but maybe these fears are not unfounded din. We all know the movie Matrix, and it's also another movie, iRobot, na ito naman mga robots na physically gumagalaw sila. So Matrix more of parang AI rin nga siya na parang hive kind of mind of pero before we get into that, yun nga, sa ethics and regulations, what are your thoughts on this? Because syempre you're a spokesperson for AI, and when people ask you about ethics and regulations, what do you usually tell them, Doc Ligot?
Yeah, sige. So, on the ethics muna. I think ethics kasi is sometimes very vague. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng ethical? And obviously, if you go back to the study of ethics, philosophical underpinning. But to keep it straightforward sa common tao, pag sinabi natin ethical, try to look at three things. One is, are you balancing good and the benefits and the harms? Lahat naman ng bagay pwedeng gamitin for bad. You can stab someone with a toothbrush. Ano ba yun? So, yun yung point. So, we need to find ways where tools can be mismanaged and then put some rules around it. So, the risks. Second is, syempre dapat may mga batas din tayong ginagalang. Right now, I think 2012 was a major period in data for the Philippines kasi dun bumukas yung Data Privacy Act tsaka yung Anti-Cybercrime Law. So for the first time, kung meron kang naging problema related to data, nanakaw yung data mo, may naging impersonate sa'yo, meron ka lang pwedeng venue to chase this person, to bring them to jail. Doon nabuo yung National Privacy Commission. So compliance is a big part. And then lastly, and this is probably the murkiest part, but I think it's the most important. Pag sinabing ethics, it has to do with your values. Yung gusto mong ma-achieve. And of course, we want to prioritize things that benefit society. Huwag natin payagan yung mga bagay na makakasakit. So at least generally that gives you an idea of what the ethics question is pagdating sa AI. Let's talk about regulation. Kasi regulation can mean many things. Pwedeng penalties yan kung meron kang linabag na batas or pwedeng incentives. No? Actually, kulang tayo on both fronts. No? Kulang tayo sa penalties. For example, sa Data Privacy Act, it only protects you if someone compromise your data without permission. Pero it doesn't mention kung, kunyari, ginamit yung data mo in an AI model, ang gagawin mo, di ba? Or sa Cybercrime Act, you can punish someone for stealing data, for tampering with data, for impersonating someone. So in a way, mako-cover mo yung deepfakes doon. Pero it doesn't necessarily address, kunyari, discrimination using AI models. Kunyari, ginamit ng AI to select people for a job. Paano mo hahabulin kung clearly nagkaroon ng bias. And models are all about bias. No? That's the fundamental of models. Eh. How do you mathematically calculate a bias? No? So those two fronts are important. And I think, balikan din natin yung, bakit ba tayo nagre-regulate? We regulate something if there's a potential for abuse. That's why mga doktor, no? Or mga architects, they need to get a permit or a license to practice their profession. In the health field, iba yung lisensya ng doktor, iba yung lisensya ng pharmacist. Yung isa, pwedeng mag-prescribe ng gamot, pero kukunin mo dapat sa pharmacist yung gamot. Hindi pwedeng yung gamot yung doktor din yung magbibigyan ng gamot, kundi pwedeng abusuhin ng doktor. Or I think the clearest example is sa kotse. We have drivers who can drive a car, pero hindi naman ibig sabihin nun marunong kang mag-ayos ng makina. No? Ibang skill yon. Whereas you can have good mechanics, marunong sila mag-change oil, spark plugs, doesn't mean marunong sila mag-drive. So those are two different occupations. However, yung driver lang yung may lisensya in the most cases. Bakit? Kasi yung driver yung pwedeng makapatay ng tao. If you're a drunk driver, or you're careless, you're reckless, you can hit someone, you can hurt someone. Kaya dapat i-assess yung capability mo as a driver and renew dapat yan. Although ngayon, I think every 10 years na lang yung renewal, but at least there's a way of monitoring who should practice driving. So, if dalhin mo sa AI yan, anyone can use AI na ngayon. Napag-usapan natin kanina kasi open na siya. You don't have to program anything, just log on. Pero that means anyone na rin can misuse the AI. No? They can create fake news, they can cheat, they can invade someone's privacy. May nakita nga akong recent article na pwede mong ilabas yung private data that was used to train, let's say, ChatGPT, the older one, no? ChatGPT 2 or 3, by hacking the prompts. So yung mga ganyang bagay, syempre, hindi yan na-envision ng mga tao when they designed it. So, ang point lang naman of regulation is, kunyari magkaroon ng bulilyaso, who can you ask help from? Government? Someone? And what is the basis of your complaint? So, I think yung fear naman dyan, babasa ko rin sa mga ibang mga posts, no? Siyempre, yung mga tao na nagpa-practice ng AI, they're worried na pag i-regulate natin yan, baka bumagal yung pace of innovation. Eh, nagkukulang din ng Pilipinas dun to speed up innovation. So, I think yan yung delicate balancing act ngayon. How do we keep innovation positive pero cover the risks? And then, obviously, there are some issues na talagang kailangan pagtuunan talaga ng pansin, which is jobs. Potentially, baka yung isang bill nga ni final ni Congressman Atayde, I was in interview last week. It's about that, no? How do you regulate the use of AI that might result in job losses? And then, of course, a common battleground is the academia. Yan. Paano natin i-guide yung mga schools, yung mga teachers, lalo na ngayon, I think it's worth mentioning, meron kasi mga AI detectors na pwedeng gamitin. And they don't work properly. I mean, just to be clear to everyone, siguro yung accuracy niya is less than 60%. In fact, may mga detector nga na pag linagay mo yung Constitution of the Philippines or Constitution ng United States, sabihin niya 100% AI generated. So it's an open problem ngayon sa natural language processing. It's hard to classify AI generated work kasi nga it's based on the distribution sa math, no, of the original data set. You need yet another data set na siguro tao yung gumawa to mark each case as ito AI, ito tao, ito AI, ito tao. So it's an ongoing problem ngayon. And it's also affecting journalists kasi ini-impersonate na yung mga journalists ngayon. Kung todo yung boses nila, pwede nang i-fake to promote some scam, no? So that's a big challenge. And again, paano kung ikaw naging victim niyang ano niyan, identity theft or you know, fake news? Who do you complain to? Right now, parang wala. The DICT will not be able to give you adequate protection or the DTI kasi kulang yung batas eh. So I think yun yung importante. I think we need regulation, but we need to be careful kasi baka ma-over-regulate din natin.
And tama kayo, Doc Ligot. Kulang yung batas because, this is something very recent and it's happening very fast. And the way minsan our, legal system works, minsan medyo nakukulit siya because it takes time to, yung process natin of vetting laws is still, let's say, traditional. Hindi naman yan AI pa na ano na ilalagay mo lang patas na siya. So and there are still values na traditional and methodologies natin na traditional. Hindi naman mawawala yan, hindi ma-replace. And that's why you mentioned kanina, you know, we can't this is the reality. We can't look away from or you know um, parang isipin natin it's not happening or disregard what's happening
Mhm.
with the with the speed of how AI is developing. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we weren't thinking of generative AI and these things. Pero now it's possible, and now it's opening up more possibilities. And we're almost out of time. Pero yung quick questions lang before we're out of time. And thank you again for being gracious enough to accept this interview. Uh, in terms of sa levels of AI, do you think andun na tayo or malapit na tayo sa theory of mind level na magkakaroon na ng emotion? Let's say kung wala pa, do you think it's something na we will see in the near future na magkakaroon na ng emotion yung AI? Yung self-aware, I won't get into that because I don't think I personally don't think it's gonna happen in the near future. Though I could be wrong, of course. But at least yung theory of mind, because this is something that some people are looking forward to na yung chat GPT mas magiging compassionate na siya or it can start to become your friend na may feelings siya or something like. So what's your take on that?
Ang take ko dyan, we suffer from parang double blindness. Either we overestimate AI or we underestimate it. And I think part of the reason is itong mga large language models na to at saka yung mga image generation tools na diffusion models they call them. Yung underlying mechanism nila is based on text. Yun talaga yun. Samantalang tayo, I'm sure habang nakikinig yung mga listeners natin, hindi nyo naman nakikita yung text sa ulo ninyo. Otherwise, baka kailangan nyo na muna magpahinga. but text is not something we use to think. We produce text. While these models, they use text to think. Yun yung subtle difference eh. So that being said, marami silang kayang gawin on that basis alone. So emotionality perhaps, I wouldn't say self-awareness, pero awareness of text, yes, that's a part of it. So I think doon tayo na flat foot eh. Kasi iniisip natin, bobo yung mga model na yan. No, they're smart. Pero text ang basis ng pagka-smart nila. So if it's something that can be captured in words or sentences, fair game yan. Pero yung mga higher end types of cognition, emotion, for example, like true emotion or memories in the sense of, beyond what you can store on an image or word, I don't think kaya talaga ng AI yan in its current shape or form. Kaya ngayon yung move is to move to something called multimodal where hindi lang siya text, it's images, it's sound. Pero actually yung pagtakal ng multimodal, if you ask me, syempre my opinion lang to, medyo fake eh. Kasi what they do is they still connect it to text. So meron kang picture of a cat, i-connect niya yan to the word cat, for example, and then dun magkakaroon ng reasoning. So in a way, it's still words na nagkaroon lang ng translation to pictures. So that can only go so far. And I think one of the challenges talaga na na-encounter ng mga tao ngayon is you need to ingest a lot of text for this thing to work. Otherwise, the math fails kung maliit yung data mo. And that's not very convenient. And for me, if you think about it, hindi naman natin kailangan basahin lahat ng libro in existence for us to form a sentence. Tayo as people, we can think. And we don't think like machine learning na kailangan natin magkamali millions of times para
Right.
para
We don't have that
yung-
luxury.
wala tayong ganung cost functions to optimize. So I feel na that's just the best attempt so far for humans to try to replicate reasoning. And it's a very good method. Dami yung nagagawa. Pero I don't think it's the real solution to get to some sort of like a world model theory of mind. It's a good step in the right direction. Just like holograms is the next level after photographs. No? Kasi you can see a person in 3 dimensions. Pero hindi pa rin yun yung totoong, talagang
Yung solution, right?
solution. Parang lang siya, incremental approach. One thing that I would say though, with a few minutes left, I think kailangan natin ng AI talaga. Kasi there's only so much a human can do manually. And the best example for me, yung mga self-driving rockets ni
Unfortunately, Doc Ligot, we're out of time.
Wala na.
Maka-cut off na tayo ng
Next
ng
episode, next
automatic-
episode.
next episode. Thank you so much for being our guest. And it was a wonderful talking to you. Maybe sa podcast nyo na lang. This is